Okay, good evening. Catherine, can you hear us?
I can. I'm just getting my video going.
Hello? Oh, yeah.
Here I am.
Hi.
Hi, we can't hear you
Hi.
though.
Now you can hear me.
Stuart, are
Yes?
you able to hear us?
Yes, I am, ma'am. I guess you can't hear me.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Catherine.
Okay.
We'll have our own meeting.
Right.
The speaker's on because I see the blue light.
Okay.
So we should be all set here.
Use my mouth.
All right, so our sound is working.
Can you hear me? Test. No.
Can you hear us? Nod your head. Oh,
You can hear us, but we can't hear you and we can't hear Stuart.
But we can hear each other.
Stuart rarely has much to say, so it probably is a benefit to
glad it's not your situation, Catherine. I can't stand working with that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I think if it's both of them, the issue is probably us. Just have to figure it out.
Oh, there you go.
It's working now. Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Perfect.
Great, now it's
working.
working.
I can hear you.
Thank you. Sorry, guys. Something's up with the speaker.
Yeah.
All right. Good to go.
Maddie, we had this once when we had the meeting at the board meeting there also, if you remember.
I know, it's very depressing. All right. Yeah, if you want to call the meeting to order.
Let's
I think
call the
we'll
meeting
set.
to order, and I guess there's no reason not, oh, there's no flag to do, oh, there's the flag, yeah. I guess we should do the Pledge of Allegiance, as always. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, let's call to order. Following the agenda, 159 Main Street, which was a sign application, is the applicant here?
Let's see. Nope. We have no applicants in
We
the
have no
audience.
applicant, and do we have an applicant for the second item, which was the painting of the facade that we heard the last meeting?
We have no applicants in the gallery or in the room.
All right, well, in light of that, I don't think there's anything more to say about the painting that we didn't say already. This is the brand new application, the first one, am I right? 72023?
Yes, it is, Dan.
Yeah, thank you. And everyone here seen it, I mean, first of all, before we get into the details, I guess, we want to set a precedent where we would address even in the absence of the applicant, or should we just let it go and not review it at all until an applicant decides to show up, because that is what's required on the application, is to show up in person, if that's correct, right?
I would suggest this, if you have questions and need to come back, I think that's fine. If you're able to resolve the request for the certificate of appropriateness tonight, we can do that, because this applicant still needs to get a variance from the zoning board anyway. So,
Oh, okay. I didn't track what the variance was for, by the way. I didn't look it up.
the variance is because you can't have a sign that covers the entire front glass of the door.
Oh, okay.
So there's a specific section of the zoning code that deals with that. So they're gonna need a variance for that, but they are coming before you for the certificate of appropriateness. If you're able to deal with that tonight, even though Ms. Lozano is not here, I think you can proceed, but if you have questions, you can always at that point then be adjourned until the December meeting.
Well, I think just let's move it along then and let's take care of it. I think it's something we can come to, possibly consensus on. Can you pull it up? Oh, hi, Isaac. Isaac's joining.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, great. Great. to
Sorry,
see
I
you.
was having issues joining.
That's all right. Just, we're going through the first item. And it's a sign, primarily it's a sign that they want to put on between two second floor windows. Where I guess there had been some signs before, judging from the shadow. And, there's a proposal for like a Photoshop of what it would look like with the sign. And
Okay.
it's abandoned, I think the Army Navy store thing. Yeah, that's a door in question that is not part of our application, or we have to rule on that as well? Or is that, are we?
Dan, I think that was part of your application as well, even though it would require a variance. It would, I think, that would be part of it because it is on it is on the exterior, it's the outside, so I would say yes.
All right, well, let's take the first one that's on the screen right now. I guess we'll open this to discussion. Anybody have any opinion about this application? Comments?
I think it needs to be in the sign ban. That's not,
I agree.
yeah,
Yeah, I thought that, Steve?
Yeah, I agree. That's,
Yeah,
I didn't like either thing.
yeah.
okay, but we'll take one at a time. I agree as well. I mean, I don't know how a sign was up there before, presumably there was. But certainly there's a sign ban and there's a precedent for two different tenants sharing a sign ban. I think just in building down is the Chinese restaurant with the dance studio. I think it's the building next door actually. And the sign ban has the sign for the dance studio and also the Chinese restaurant sharing it. So it's certainly a way to accommodate it within the sign ban. And I think we're in agreement then that violating that is just not appropriate. We don't want to encourage other people on Main Street to do that.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
now going, I guess we could take this either separately as a vote or else just combine it with the door. There's the door, which is, I guess, a view from the inside. Is that how that would, oh, that, is that
It's
the
a view
exterior?
from the outside.
That is a view from the outside, yeah.
Mm,
So,
mm.
do we have any comments on that? We don't really have anything in the guidelines to my knowledge about a door that's recessed like that.
The door's existing, right?
Yeah, the door is existing, but the sign, and, oh, is the sign up there too?
I think the sign.
Did you already put the sign up? Yeah, I think he did Photoshop it in, because I didn't see that when I walked by.
Mm.
Any comments on the sign? Just Steve, did you have a comment? On the
Yeah,
door, excuse me.
On either one of those, I just don't think it visually looks, in keeping with the facade or in keeping with the kind of look we want for Main Street.
Okay,
Well,
is there,
Uh.
and what, do you have an opinion, Isaac?
yeah, I mean, it really depends on like if it's a sign or if it's just a sticker, a transparent sticker, that goes there on the door.
Mm-hmm.
Because it wouldn't be that bad if it's a transparent sticker, right? But if it's as it's showing right now, that's terrible, right?
And is that, are they asking also for permission for the directory where it says KO and K and C? Is that existing or is that part of the Photoshop?
Dan, I think that's being requested as well, because I don't believe there is anything up there now. That used to be where Bob's Army Navy was. So,
Yeah, that's what I call the Army.
so,
Navy.
so,
Yeah.
no, I think that they're looking for all three.
Wow.
All right?
I mean, the one above the mailbox is the least objectionable of the three, but the one on the door, I mean, I agree with Isaac. You know, if it was just letters, if it was just a logo and it didn't obscure the glass, but obscuring the glass, the door, that just, it makes it feel like a service entry and not an actual entrance to a business establishment.
Yeah,
I agree if it were like a stencil on a clear, so
Yeah.
it certainly look better. But
Right.
the way this is,
I also wanted to add, I definitely think the sign on the brick facade is an absolute no. And also I think that the two signs here, I don't know how specific they're being, but it's very redundant and it's way too much information on the door. If they did one on the door and it was a transparent, like what you're talking about, of just like the logo without all of the phone numbers and all of the other information, in addition, like with the sign above the mailbox with all of that information, I think that would be okay. But as it stands, it's like it's way too much. And I also think if it's on the glass of the door, maybe it has to be transparent.
Somebody raised their hand.
somebody raise their hand.
Let's see. Yes, here's the applicant.
Okay, great.
All right, Pamela, I'm gonna allow you to talk, okay?
Have you heard?
Thank you. I'm sorry. I just have the Zoom is under my daughter's name, but I'm Vivian.
Oh,
And I'm
hi, how
sorry
are
I
you?
logged in late because I got confused with tomorrow's meeting. So it's like, okay, but I'm here.
Have you heard our discussion?
Honestly, I just joined. So I just heard saying that it was like too much information on the door. Since I have the other sign on the right, I guess like that has like the same information. So it's like redundant. That's
Well,
basically what I was able to hear.
Well, maybe, I'm sorry, what's your name again? It's not Pam.
Vivian?
Vivian, thank you.
Yes.
If I may, just to recap something that we came to an agreement on, the first part of the application was a sign on the facade between the two upper windows. And we reached a consensus that we do not want to approve that because there's really no precedent in our design guidelines for going beyond the sign band. And there's the building next door that it's two occupants, one above and one below. On the street, the Chinese restaurant and the dance studio, they share a sign band. So that's a proposal to you for how to resolve this.
So we're talking about the one on the second floor,
Yes,
that one?
Yeah.
yes.
So you're saying like not for me to put nothing on the second floor? I'm just
That's
trying to
right.
understand.
We don't want to encourage people to be creating signs on the second floor, possibly third floor.
I'm sorry. Yeah, but there was a sign before. If
I
you-
don't know how it got there. I never recall seeing it. I certainly see the shadow. So
Uh-huh.
but I don't think in and of itself, it creates a precedent. Who knows if it was even ever put up correctly, but permitting wise, it could have been grandfathered.
Oh, okay, because that's what that's what was my initial thought, because before he had like a whole sign on it. So that's what I was planning on putting my sign up there.
there's a band there for signage where it said Bob's Army Navy. Was
Yeah,
that-
but that will be for the one on the first floor.
Well, as
That's
I
where
said,
the store used to be.
right, but like the Chinese restaurant next door, I think it's a great building next door, the dance studio, they share, I have a picture of it, but I can't
Do you want to try
share
to
it.
do street
Oh,
view?
yes, they have the name and then on the side, like a little one, like small.
Yeah,
little
that's
dance
exactly what
studio.
they had. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I don't know whether, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
I'm
So
just
you're saying
showing-
instead of the sign
Yeah.
between the two windows, to share the one on the wide band, I guess?
Yeah, exactly
Yeah.
right. And
Oh, okay.
by the way, they have the dance artist as a bigger sign above the standard sign band, but that's because their storefront design has almost two sign bands, if you want to call it that. They have one that was put up as a transom just above the storefront. Then they have historically another one that's right above it. So we're certainly not encouraging you to try to put another horizontal sign just below the windowsill. That's not, when I talk about the Chinese restaurant, I'm not discussing the fact that they added a sign under the windowsill. They have a totally different kind of storefront that gives it some placement.
Mm-hmm.
You can follow on that.
Okay. So, okay, so just on the second floor, you just say like, I don't have, that's not an option.
Right,
Correct.
we don't wish to approve anything on the second floor for any buildings going forward. And then, yeah, I think it's called up right now. It's the yellow sign is the Chinese restaurant. And then there's a space there. Maybe that's an old photograph. But right now it's a dance studio sign next to it on the sign there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So obviously this is an old photo because I just saw it today.
Right.
So I think that's clear, and I appreciate your understanding. We certainly
Yeah.
appreciate your understanding of that. As far as it's, oh, sorry. As far as the entry goes,
No,
you're-
but can we say, can I have another question on, so
Sure.
as you see the dance studio, they have, because like, I'm just trying to see if I can show that my office is on the second floor. So since like this sign is not gonna be an option, is there anything on the window itself? Like you see how the studio has it?
Yeah,
Can I
they
do
have a
something
detailed-
similar to that?
I think we could, well, I'll bring it up to a discussion on the committee, whether or not, we'd be okay with stenciling some kind of decal behind the glass. That's what you're talking about?
Just on the
make them-
window itself.
Yeah, on the
Yeah,
glass.
I'm just like, just wanted to see if that's even an option. Since I just want to bring some attention to my office being on the second floor. And I feel like if I just leave it like, it's just not gonna see like it's an office. It just, people might think it's just gonna be like a residence. So I just want something to make that difference.
Well, in a way, I could say this, you could certainly come back to us with a proposal for what you would do. Again, the concern, I think, for the committee is that we're not encouraging a deviation from the idea that any tenants are, the presence of any tenants are established within the storefront design. We just don't want to encourage anything that starts to proliferate on the second or third floor. I can't tell you whether the sign for the dance studio behind the glass was permitted or how long it's been there. But it's, I guess we could put it to a vote as far as offering the opportunity for you to come back and just propose, how it would fit within the glass, the way you're talking about both panes, both windows. So are you occupying both those windows? Is that?
Yes.
So I'm not sure whether you're proposing putting it on the two windows or only one window or both.
Yeah, like I'm just,
within-
I just wanted to ask a question just to like, I don't.
Well, certainly, I don't know unless somebody has an objection that, why we would say no offhand without seeing what you might propose, since it would be on the glass.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's.
Yeah,
worth
I think that's
considering.
fair. Just come
Yeah.
back with a proposal and then we can, we'll be able to opine on it better.
I think guideline, if I could, and maybe get some other opinions. I think the sign though shouldn't take up the entire lower pane of each glass, if you know what I'm saying. In other words, it would be something that is in proportion to the glass. It doesn't take up the entire piece of glass as your door is proposed. Do you understand what we're saying?
Now we're talking about the first, like the entrance door.
No, now I'm using your entrance door proposal
Oh,
as
I
an example
see.
of what not to do, what
Oh,
not.
I
to do
see,
on the
I see
second
your
floor.
point.
Right.
Yeah, no, yes, I
If you
understand what you're
obscure the
saying.
whole window, it's gonna make
Right,
the spaces
right.
unoccupied And it's,
Yeah, it
you
could
know,
look like.
Yeah.
it look like it's a vacant building, so, you know.
Right, I
the-
got it.
The more you see through whatever sign you do, sort of like the dance studio, the better.
Uh-huh.
it will look, I
Yeah.
think. That would
Yeah,
be-
that's something that I was thinking more, like, it will be
Okay.
just like that.
Well, certainly if you think it's gonna help your business, I mean, that's another reason why we shouldn't, dismiss looking at it again. If that's.
Right. I'm just because like next door there is like a residential, and like I'm between the dance studio and the residential. So like I just want to bring some attention to the second, so like people know that I'm on the second floor.
Yeah, we understand.
So
Okay, and then now we go down to the ground floor, and I
Uh-huh.
think we were clear in a consensus that there's just too much on the glass, and, again, the K and D logo, it would seem to be appropriate so long as it's mostly glass and not as much K and D. Although, you certainly have a directory there, which, explains everything, so I think that one of the comments you may have heard was that, we also wonder why you'd want to repeat all that information on the door when it's very clear in the directory. So if it's limited to just K and D with the name right under it, your logo on the glass, with clear glass remaining in view, I think that's our consensus for how the door would be treated. And I don't know whether we have any strong comments about the directory. I mean, my opinion is it's okay to keep it, but I have to ask if there's any other comments from the commission.
I have a question about the K and C cleaning. The other sign on that sign,
Yeah.
the information, is that on the second floor as well?
Yes.
So they're sort of like partners, or?
yes,
Okay.
I'm the owner of both. So we just
Okay.
have, if you go into like the second floor, like if you turn right,
Yeah.
it's K and C, and then if you turn left, it's K and D.
Got it.
But you're not, go ahead, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think in terms of legibility and drawing people's attention to your business,
Uh-huh.
it would be better if the information on the door, even if you got, a sign that can be applied to the door that's everything you see in white right now is clear. There's no information underneath your logo, but you could even keep the logo, like the graphics that you have that are orange. They could be transparent on the door to just, because I think all that other information, since you have it on the side, it actually detracts from that door being the door to your business. It looks very informational instead of like as your storefront kind of. And then all the other information, right, that now it makes sense to me that it's one business, and that's why there's two things on there. But also, I'm not sure about anything on the windows upstairs, only because from an architectural, this is just my 2 cents. The difference between the Westchester Dance Artists storefront is that glazing that window is very different and specific to, I mean, it's just your windows are just double hung. They're more part of the architecture, and they're very much, I just don't know how legible it would be on the window. And as you can see, it's just a very different type of window. But it would be interesting to see what it looks like if you did a proposal of just a Photoshop of just your logo on that type of double hung window. I'm not sure. I just don't know how it would translate without seeing it.
Right. Yeah. And I can't say anything yet. It was just like, an idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like, yeah, I can.
Yeah, we can
speak to
understand
it.
why I think we understand why you would bring it up when you saw that there's a shadow or something had been there before that we were never involved in.
Yes.
But good. So I think I recap. We're going to see another proposal from you for just your logo on both windows on the upper level, and your door will just have your KNC logo with the clear glass. And we believe that the directory as submitted is fine.
Okay.
I just.
Wait a second, sorry, go ahead.
I just thought visually the directory, the way it just abutted the very end of that kind of detracts from the way that area looks. And it would just be better if it were pulled in a little bit. That's all. I mean, having it
Smaller?
It's a little crammed in there.
That's how I.
It needs a little more
just-
reading room around it.
Yeah, that's how, I just think visually that would look better.
Would you like to see
So-
the letters twice as wide, or are we talking something?
Something like that, yeah.
So it's not by much, it's just,
No.
you know, maybe, you know, reduce it by 10 or 15%.
The
Oh.
sign on the side, you mean?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
side door? Okay.
Instead of 32 inches, I guess it's
Maybe
something,
28 by 20 or something.
yeah, we're guessing 28 by 20, I guess. That sounds it's fine to me.
But then the letters will be too small.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we'll play around with it and see if you can accommodate us. You could look at it first and if you feel it has to be something between what we suggested and 32 inches, then please show us that.
Okay, hold on. Let me just, yeah, so I understand, what you're saying in terms of, to remove the additional information from the door. I guess my idea was because if you drive it, like a lot of customers, like we have more people driving by than walking. So just leaving like the type of services I provide on the side, like I feel like just leaving the logo, unless like you know what I do, like you wouldn't know what type of services I'm offering.
Well, no, I think what you're saying is, just to correct, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it does say accounting and tax services. That's part of your logo.
Okay,
You could maybe consider a white background just behind that part of it, so that.
it
reads
looks
out the door.
awful.
But you couldn't.
Yeah,
read
we
it.
try it and it
Yeah,
just.
driving
doesn't
by, you
work.
wouldn't be able to read that text anyway.
You can't read it.
Right.
You have an accent.
I think if just look at K and D, accounting and tax services, that's all we were talking about. We consider that to be your logo. I mean, I
Okay,
bet you don't, but I thought it was, but I could be wrong. But in any event.
yes,
that's what
it
we're
is part
talking
of the
about.
logo.
Okay. So to wrap this up, we have to do a motion to address the sign on the second floor and combine it with the motion for the door and the directory. Do I hear a motion?
Dan, wait a minute. I just want to be
Oh.
clear. Is the applicant coming back next month?
Oh, yeah, so that we wouldn't have to have the motion, is that what we're saying?
Well, if the applicant's coming back next month, then why don't we just fold it all into, why don't we just adjourn this to the December meeting to
Okay.
allow everything to be dealt with then with potentially new renderings. And then we can see what comes up with the second floor and do it that way rather than sort of piecemeal granting or denying tonight and then still coming back next month.
All right, that makes sense. So that's what we're gonna do. We ask you to just come back again and we look forward to being able to settle it then. Is our applicant still up?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay, so,
Oh, I thought you were asking the other people, not me.
no, I was agreeing with what Stuart said. That's what we're gonna do. And we don't have to
Okay.
vote on that.
So,
We've reached a
okay.
consensus that please come back and we look forward to settling at the next meeting.
okay, so can you repeat the size of the side sign? You said like, try to make it fit into a 28, what?
Roughly 28 by 20.
Okay,
roughly. Yeah,
But if you feel that's really compromised the legibility, I
Uh-huh.
don't think it would, but if you do, you know,
Yeah.
you come back with the size, you could show the size we requested and show
Uh-huh.
another size that you think is a compromise.
okay. But
you
I
know.
tried to keep the size of the sign that was previously there, so like I don't.
Oh, so
understand.
you're saying
Okay.
that sign matches the size that was there before?
Yes, because it has a frame. If you like zoom in, it has like, the sign is on top of the frame that was before.
Oh.
So like, that's what I was,
Well, I think in the time it takes for you to come back anyways, if you wouldn't, we'd ask you to still do what we requested and then, we'll take a closer look. I walked by the building. I didn't notice the frame, so, or you perhaps get
Yeah.
a closer
Uh-huh.
picture. I'm sure with all that, we could, reach us, some conclusion next time.
okay. And for the door, we're just saying just this, the sign,
Your logo.
and my logo.
With the tax services, and I did, one suggestion was that just that logo could be like a white square, the rest of it glass. Possibly, the K and the D in black, and the orange and the black that's all the sticker is. And the space within the D and the triangles in the K, maybe those are clear. I could imagine it either way. I mean,
Okay.
if anybody else has an opinion on it.
And the phone number, can I mean, that I will need
Um,
the phone number in the second floor.
But put it on and, and let's see what it looks like.
Okay.
Let's see.
It's here too, right?
Yeah, it's on the directory as well, but if your point was, I think that you wanted to assure that if somebody drives by or doesn't cross the street to come up close to see the directory, they'd see that from the.
Right.
Get out of their car, and see the meter.
We're trying
Stop
to-
and Write the number down.
We certainly don't want to do anything to harm your business and
No,
help
we
you
don't.
promote it, but.
Yeah.
So, yeah, show us what it would look like, and let's talk about it
Yeah.
next meeting. How's that?
Or, I think, Catherine, you got a good idea where, is if it kept the K and D logo with accounting and tax services at where it is, and at the bottom still had the colored geometry, is that what you were suggesting?
Yeah, just
Yeah, and you could put the phone number on the colored geometry at the bottom, maybe. I don't know. Might-
Well, my opinion is, I think the color geometry is working against our.
I think so too.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
just
I
go
agree.
with the K and D logo, that sign, accounting and tax services, maybe a phone number right under that, that's it, against a transparent, a transparent glass. Get rid
Yeah,
of
I would,
stuff at the
Sorry.
bottom.
Well,
You
what
don't
were you gonna
need
say?
it.
Oh, sorry, Steve.
And I kind of agree with Catherine that it almost detracts rather than pulls people in.
Well, that's.
But I'm not here
The
to
way it is-
design.
The way it is now, yes.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Isaac?
no, I mean, I was gonna say like that also, in the logo itself, I think that, having it colored with color, I think it's gonna be very hard for the D and, a few of these texts to show up. So I would just make everything just white, So
Yeah, I
that
tried,
end
but it
should be transparent. Yeah, no, but the end should be transparent.
Mhm.
And then, everything else, whatever is portrayed in color it just becomes, white, and whatever is currently white is just transparent,
Mhm.
That
Yeah,
way
I
it's
have
easier to
tried
read.
that, but it's hardly to read. That's what I proposed
Okay.
this. Otherwise, like, I wouldn't even ask for the
I think
variance.
I think it's a cleaner design, you're right, Isaac, except it's a little contrary to the logo on the directory and the one that may be on the glass, so certainly if you wanted to present that as an option, we could look at it, but I think the guideline is that we'd like to see, as little information as possible on the glass door. So the K and D tax services and a phone number, I suppose, we're saying. And the K and D may be on a white square, but considering, Isaac's comment, and I think I mentioned something like that earlier, perhaps it's better to just, try to have the decal be just K with the orange and D with the black, and the white, as Isaac said, is just clear. And tax services, and, make it look like somebody actually painted it on, even.
Yeah, the difficulty is that the glass is gonna go dark. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And so
Right.
the letter D, you're not gonna see it. So that's why
Yeah.
you may need to have some kind of a background for the letters to sit on, or it's not gonna read.
Yeah, that's a good
So-
point.
Okay, I'll just,
Whoever's doing your signage should be able to help you with that.
And unless you don't, but if you have a light on in the foyer behind, that will help you mitigate what's being said. And
Okay.
even if somebody were to paint the sign on glass as they would have 100 years ago, you know, I think that's what we're talking about the median. You know, they wouldn't paint a big white square around it. They would just paint the letters.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Okay, and you're saying the colors on the bottom, I have to remove that as well, right?
The
Because
what?
it's covering the glass, the colors, like little rectangle.
Oh, at the
like-
bottom,
Yeah.
the consent, well, there may not be total consensus. My opinion is that we're better off without it.
Yeah.
It's not doing anything to the market. Like what is it doing to yours?
It's
to the
just my
door?
colors.
Well, they're replicated, you know, they're on your K and D. And, you know, I think that's, where it's taken.
Okay, and, okay, I just have one, so there's some other businesses that they do have like things on the glass that covers the glass. So like, I don't understand, like, why is this a difference, like different from these others?
Well,
Is it because of the background is like, doesn't have like the little holes on it? Does it, like the paper makes a difference? Like the paper that we use?
well, I'm not sure what the paper is. There's no sample, but
Okay.
it's certainly, you know, a valid argument to ask about other property. Offhand, I don't know which buildings you're talking about, and I don't know whether or not they were ever approved by the board. So that's my answer. At least that's my answer to you when you bring it up, although it's a valid, you know, point to raise. We just don't, as a board going forward, want to encourage, you know, opacity in the doors if they're glass to begin with. So,
Because if you cover glass, it looks like, it looks abandoned, or honestly, it doesn't look very welcoming. Like, what are they hiding behind that door?
well, that's when we look at.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's,
You want the transparency.
yeah.
I mean, next meeting, you know, if there are any others, I'll certainly go back there myself and look around. None of the conditions you just mentioned come to my mind.
Yeah.
The only one, as I said, that came to my mind was the building next door. So, I ask that you still submit what we're asking for.
Uh-huh,
You don't have to change what you've already done as far as showing us what you prefer to do, because it's already here on record. That's what you prefer. And we're
Mhm.
not giving you exactly what you'd like. So we can go over it again next meeting.
okay. Okay, we'll do that. So
Thank
I guess I'll have to submit all those to the village, right? Before next month's meeting.
Yep, to Jamie Kane.
Right.
I think you've been
Or
working.
to Candace. Okay,
Yep.
All right, well,
by
thank you.
when do I need to submit that? Sorry.
I
What would
don't
be
have
the
a
deadline?
deadline in front of me. You can go to the village's website and go to the HPC page.
Uh-huh,
You should be able to find the calendar there, but if you give me a second.
Short turnaround, because I'm meeting late this month.
The deadline for new submissions is the 7th of December.
okay,
Oh, no, wait, am I in the wrong place? Yeah, the deadline's actually Thursday because the meeting is, oh no, the deadline has passed already. Can you get it in before the end of this week? Just because we're on.
Maddie, it wouldn't be a
budget
new,
schedule this
Maddie,
month.
it wouldn't be a new submission. It's a continued submission.
But the next meeting is on the 4th. So Stuart, when do you think it should be in?
If she can, Ms. Lozano, if you can get it in by, as I look at my handy dandy calendar here, if you can get it in by Monday, the 27th of November, we're good to go.
okay,
All right, that's basically 2 weeks from yesterday. Or 2
Okay.
weeks from today, I'm sorry.
yeah. If I can do it earlier, I'll do it.
That would be
Just-
perfect.
Uh-huh,
If you
okay,
can, that would be
That's the
great.
latest.
Otherwise, if
Okay.
you can get it to us by then, that'll be super.
okay, will do. Thank you.
Thank you
And so
very much.
since I have the meeting for the zoning board, like that will be canceled, right? Because I have to get your approval first before I move forward with the zoning board, I'm guessing?
If
Oh,
you're
that's-
going, yeah, the zoning board, you have to go for a variance because what you want to do on your front door. If you're gonna
Right.
change what you're gonna do with the front door, it probably makes sense to put off zoning because you may not need the variance.
right.
So
So I
But the
have to
meeting
get
is-
your approval
Yeah, the
first.
meeting's tomorrow, the zoning board meeting.
Yes.
So we will confirm in writing, Vivian, tomorrow morning that you'll be
Okay.
removed from the agenda or just held over until the December zoning board meeting.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Awesome. So I'll get an
Thank
email
you.
from you.
Yes,
Okay,
will do.
thank you. Okay.
Thank you very
Well,
much.
have a good night.
Good
Okay.
night.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Bye.
All right, I think we said already that since the applicant's not here with new information, there's no reason to discuss 2A, which is 06-2023, 193 Main Street painting. So I propose we go to the additional business of the board, which is the third item. I think we should do this pretty quickly. If you're looking at the agenda, awnings of March 23 are no longer applicable. I made some changes based on the last meeting. And the ramp amendment of March 23, the same thing. So if I could ask, I think we talked already about the solar panels. I don't believe, Manny, are you able to bring up the solar panels?
Oh, sure. Yep.
And we'll just review that. I think there were no other changes. I think this was all found acceptable at the last meeting. Yeah, there's just what's in yellow at the bottom. And I had the image of the house with the pit roof and those items in yellow, which I texted in. And basically, the whole point of this was to discourage the use of the contrasting grid on the solar panels. So I don't, unless somebody says otherwise, I'm happy to hear any new comments. I'd like to bring this to the VAR. Everything we're talking about right now would have to also be approved by the VAR. And so that's really the reason why we're discussing this, is so that we can go to the VAR, get their sign off if possible, and then make it so. No other comments? Can we move on? Okay. Now we go to awnings, which is the October 23 revision. And I think, as I recall, maybe Mark, you might have said that Murray and Baker image might be large, like prominent, or is that what you said last meeting? Should we keep it, or if we keep it, make it as large as it is? I thought you had said, what is your opinion? Maybe I missed.
Well, it's about the awnings, right? Not the
Yeah.
sign. Murray and Baker is not an awning.
No, I was talking about that image, just the
Okay.
image.
Which is fine.
Oh,
I'm good with that.
at that size. In other
Yeah.
words, oh, all right, 'cause that's what I thought you had said. I think,
I think it shows a historic image of awnings. You know, it's from a historic advertisement, so
yeah,
it seems valid to me.
this advertisement indicates application of awnings for storefronts and upper level windows. Awnings became popular in the late 19th century, the advent of convenient retractable arms. And then, besides of the north side of Main Street South, face south, the orientation is ideal for awnings, young deciduous trees, et cetera, do not protect the upper levels. And we're encouraging awnings if possible. So if you could go further down the page, I added these other images. I found these since we had the last meeting. Self-explanatory, 1907 renovation, oh no. Yeah, there it is. So I found these at the Historical Society, I think, and it just buttresses this idea that at one point there were awnings on upper levels, and you know, we'd like to encourage it or not. I mean, that's really the question posed. And then if we do, are these the images to include? I think, is there anything more about awnings, Maddie? Oh, sorry.
I guess I don't know if we go as far as to say we're encouraging it, but
Well,
that it's an acceptable.
It's an acceptable, yeah. And then there's the two buildings I showed last time, one that exists now at the corner of Croton and Highland. And another image I just by chance found that sort of resembles it, not really, but a little bit, and just to show it a contrast. I'm not sure if that image is necessary. But also as a way to say that that storefront doesn't really comply with our guidelines, because the glass block, and also I should have added the octagonal window in there. So that's what the awning amendment is, or how it's been revised. Any comments or?
No, I thought it was good, and I like the two images. I thought the one on the left does enhance the explanation, enhances what we're trying to say. So, yeah, I liked it.
All right, and Mark's comment was that certainly it's true. We're not saying you have to do awnings or,
No.
please do it, but it's okay if you want to. If you wanted to.
If you want to do it, here's a precedent. Let's see.
Yeah.
All right. So unless there are any issues, we could convey that to the VAR and see what they say. Is that resolved?
Yep.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
fine with that.
And the last one, well, there's two more. The ramp amendment, I went through that one, changed it again a little bit. I had some bad examples of ramps, and I just changed the images. Yeah, there it is. I had that one as a bad example. And then down below, I still found that one. I couldn't find any other ramps in homes around here that I thought could match as a preferable design or an idea of having it uniform. So again, any feedback, should we keep this? Should we change it? Should we get rid of ramps? That's feedback I'm looking for.
I mean, I think a lot of buildings are gonna need to add them, so having some language in here to evaluate against, it's good. If it seems ambiguous enough, that at least gives us a grounds for discussion.
Yeah, the ramp above is not consistent with the existing design and should be avoided unless, that's the other thing, unless the need for the ramp is temporary. So we're not saying if you're gonna put up a ramp because, maybe you broke your leg, God forbid, and you needed it for 3 months, you gotta go through all the total redesign.
So would you want to say something in addition about the lower image, that the ramp is integral part of the steps and matches the architectural style of building?
Let's see, what I wrote now is the ramp below is an integral part of the steps and preferable. And you wanted to say like sympathetic to the modern design of the home?
Just sympathetic to the design.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
sympathetic to the design of the home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
that way it encourages it to be integrated and not just be this.
Yeah, because that may not work on some other structures, so
Right.
that adds well. I think it's a
Okay.
good.
So sympathetic to the design of the home.
building.
The building, yeah, all right, building. Okay, any other points about that? I assume no.
No, all good.
Now, the last one is the James Robinson House Amendment. I brought this up on my own. And I wanted to just add a couple of points to this, if I may, quickly. This would go into the historic guide. And I made a presentation to the Board of Trustees last month, and they approved all the changes to the historic guide that we had been discussing this year, which was good. It's not yet online because we just learned that, I guess, Maddie, the planning consultant to the village, has to actually change the website.
Yep, they're the ones that have the Word document, so
They
they're
have the Word
gonna
document.
edit it.
So it's not yet online, but it's happening. But in terms of discussing, the changes to the guide, one issue that came to my mind after doing it is that one of the changes was about describing what happened to the bank, National Bank, because it has the black eyebrows. I'll call them the black eyebrows, but I think you might remember that building. It has black painted garlands above the second, third floor windows. And there's no way to know why it happened. I couldn't find any rationale, any notes about why that would have been approved when the building was monochromatic to begin with. But, you know, okay, it's there, and okay, everything's all right. I thought, though, we should also do that with the James Robinson house. People, because there had been some commentary about putting solar panels on the roof, particularly on the front. And there were valid points to consider eliminating it from the front. So just stay, no, the yellow up above.
I didn't know if there was a floor.
Yeah, no, nothing else. We could have a picture of the building with the solar panels. I actually took one. It's not a great picture. I guess all the other pictures in the guide are maybe professionally taken. Mine was just from a cell phone, but you know what it looks like. So I thought basically we could make another change to this property and just let people know if they drive by that the solar panels were not there without considering these variables, these points. And tell me if I'm wrong in the recollection. I didn't go back and see whether or not these are noted in the certificate of appropriateness. But my recollection was that they were added on the eastern, western, and southern exposure because we have a commitment to sustainability. I recall mentioning in the comprehensive plan. They needed the panels on all exposures requested. They needed it on the main facade. Because I remember we talked to them and they said, no, that was part of the energy requirement. And there's also a lack of historically significant roofing, such as slate. So we weren't covering up something very old and precious. And that the monochromatic black panels were preferable because they didn't have contrasting trim. So I thought to just put this in the guide, and at least now people will know why, without having to search for a certificate of occupancy, why they were allowed. Anybody has any comments about it? Obviously, we're not taking back the application. I'm just trying to understand, trying to put out there the rationale for why we approved it. Any?
No, I like that. Again, that helped add some flavor to why it looks the way it does now.
Yeah, all right. Okay, so next time we're able to update the guide, we can't just do it unilaterally, apparently. I have to go back to the Board of Trustees to make that application. By the way, if you're interested in the presentation, it's on the Ossining Village website under
YouTube. It's on the YouTube
on
channel.
YouTube.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, what is it? You have to go to,
You just go to youtube.com and then you search Village of Ossining, and under those videos, it'll be, I think, the October 18th.
yes, the special meeting.
Yep.
Yeah, the October 18th Ossining trustee special meeting, you can see the presentation. And their comments, which were favorable. Just one last thing. I know we're running a few minutes, well, we still have a few minutes. I wanted to just bring up a memo that we had talked about back in February, where I listed some objectives for 2023, and we don't really have time at the moment to go through the all the points proposed and all the things accomplished, but I think we did accomplish many of these objectives. But one thing that just occurred to me in reviewing the door, the applicant who just showed up, we have another example of something that I had noted in February, which is coordination with planning and Board of Architectural Review. And I wrote down all HPC submissions are also reviewed by Planning BAR, but not all Planning BAR applications are reviewed by HPC. Is there a need to streamline coordination between these groups? I think this is an example of how we should try to make it easier for applicants. If that application we just saw about the door had gone to them first, and we knew that their comments were essentially what our comments are, I think then it would make it easier for the applicant. She could go back to BAR right now and find out that they have no issue with the door. It would surprise us, I think. but they may not. And then she'd have to come back to us and we have two conflicting views. I think if we could change the regulations or the scheduling, I'm not sure how to do this, but my idea, as I said, when the presentation was made, was can we put the cart, change the cart before the horse scenario? VAR has to review it, so why wouldn't they first review it in a general sense? We'd have their comments, and then we'd have the benefit of that in reviewing it for landmarks. And I think streamline the process. Is that valid? I mean, I don't know, Stuart, is that something we can do or Batty?
I think Stuart has left us. I don't personally have an objection, but I'm happy to speak with Stuart and our planner, Valerie, about, you know, if a different order is possible and preferable. No problem there.
Do people understand what I'm trying to say here?
Yeah.
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 I just, so, okay, can we ask you to talk to them about it?
I will very happily,
All
yes.
right, can I call you in a couple of weeks or something? Maybe we
I'll
can
send an
chat.
email out tomorrow morning. I'll copy you.
Great, well, thank you very much.
Sure.
All right, and I propose that next meeting, we could go through this list that we talked about in February and check off things that haven't been done yet, maybe, you know, see if there's interest in us pursuing those items in 2024. And unless there's anything else anyone wants to bring up, should I make a motion to adjourn? Does anyone make a motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn.
I second.
We're adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Good night,
Have a good
Catherine.
evening.
Good night,
Take
Isaac.
care.
Yeah.
See you guys.
See you next month.
Good Thanksgiving.
Bye-bye.
Yes.
Happy
thanks.
Thanksgiving, guys.
Bye-bye.